So these are government agencies like the CIA, which officially has as a purpose to defend American citizens and maybe the citizens of the world. So it might seem that they are somehow abusing their power, turning it against the interests of their own people.
You know, that's quite correct. I was always thinking when I was younger that police and the military are for the people. Now I know that part of them, not all, part of them are still for the people, helping people, defending their country. But a big part of them are working against the people. And they are doing it with field experimentations because they have new weapons of mass destructions, which have been going on for over 30 years officially, because in 1975, already at the UN, the Russian delegation, it was Andrei Gromyko, who was at that time the foreign minister, asked that these new weapons of mass destruction, which are horrible, you cannot detect them, you cannot see them, radio waves, microwaves, lasers, etc., they destroy our brain, our health, our environment, etc. So he was asking that the UN would decide that these would be abandoned totally. He got a good response from many, but the US was opposing, claiming that since 1948 there have been no new weapons of mass destruction, so the question is out of the question. I mean, this is crazy, because the US is the leader in the world of these non-lethal new weapons. And the danger is that they can take over anybody today. Anybody. They used to experiment with the people in the prisoners. They used to experiment with mental patients. They still do that.
So that is without their consent?
Absolutely without their consent. It's criminal. It's totally, totally criminal. And now they take anybody, just anybody, but especially single women, because they don't have protection of the family. You know, if a single woman vanishes, so it takes some time before somebody finds out. If a married woman vanishes, the same day the family cries. So it's single women, it's people who know their bad deeds, it's people, scientists especially, who are involved and find out too much. They all of a sudden have a heart attack or a brain tumor or a stroke or whatever. Or they're driven over by a car, or they even go down in a flight accident with hundreds of other people.
So they have their methods to make people disappear or die, those who maybe know too much or are want to protest because they don't like what they are experiencing.
Yeah, they have such power that, like FBI's former director Hoover said, it's so horrible you cannot believe it. They have weapons today, electromagnetic weapons. They can throw them at your brain. And like you have fingertips, which are unique, your brain waves are unique. Every one of the 6.5 billion people has a unique brain wave. They can take that into supercomputers, and at the moment the supercomputers are 180 trillion flops in a second. 180 trillion in a second. Our brain is only 5,000 bits a second, so we have no match to the supercomputers. But since this has been published, and usually the information that is published is 50 years old, so what the real figure is, I have no idea. Because I found out from this non-lethal weapons conference from the American representative, he said that already in 1801 the first mind control device was created. Can you imagine? 1801. And I know that in Ohio a doctor was already doing 1874 unethical research, putting electrodes into the brain of a patient, a female patient who died. So, you know, this is a century, 2 centuries old technology, and now it's coming out. This is new. It's not new. Anything that comes out from the military is at least 50 years old. And academic, especially in Europe and Scandinavia, academic research is at least 1 or 2 generations behind. They have no idea. For instance, there's a British Professor Warwick, I think his name was, he's lectured a couple of times in Finland. I only read what he has been stating. And it was just crazy. He was saying that he was the first man who has placed an implant into his hand, and so he goes out and opens the doors and garage and whatever. And now he says he is the first man in the world who puts an electrode, which is a microchip, into his brain, and now he can talk to his wife telepathically. Now, already in 1952, Project Moonstruck, CIA's own project, placed electrodes into the brain and teeth of people to follow them. 1952. Now he comes out after year 2000. So, like I said, it's at least 50 years old, you know, behind the academic research about these things. They don't know about the military, or then they are bought and they are giving disinformation.